Elio guys, and welcome back. In today's video though, we have Golem's B11. Now I haven't done a Golem's B11 video or a Golem's B15 video, so make sure you stay tuned for the Golem's B15 video, but focusing here just on B11, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so B11 is essentially MSL's new B10 to any players out there that have quit the game and kind of come back. And for newer players out there, back in the day, we only had Golem's B10, so that was the highest difficulty of Golems that we ran in order to get the best gems. But now B11, with the addition of Super Ascensions, there's Super Evolutions, Ultimate Evolutions, and Trinkets, B11 has essentially become the next B10. So it's very important because all content of the game kind of results not only from the Astromon that you have in general, but also the gems that you have on them. So I want to provide a little bit of background into that scenario before we kind of dive into the whole Golem's B11 type thing. So if you're doing Golem's B10, which I do have kind of an older guide out there for B10, it should be no problem for you whatsoever, especially for newer players out there. But let me briefly check him out real quick while we're here anyways. So B10 has a dark golem instead of the light one, which is in B11. So it's essentially the same thing with B10, but since you have access to dark mana, you can obviously use dark mana as one of your wave clears. Then you can use another wave clear paired up with two sappers, and congratulations, B10 is over with. Like I said before at the beginning of the video, with everything that has been added here, B10 is literally just a joke nowadays. Back in my day though, B10 was like, bro, how do I get a good time in this? But over here with B11, I want to kind of focus on what Astromon types you should be looking for before we go ahead and say, oh, use this Astromon, use that Astromon. Currently, for example, I have two Wet Artemises and I have two Fire Dracus. But the setup here is pretty much general. It's the same exact thing as B10. You just have to have a change in element depending on what monster that you're using. So if you are using your Dark Mona in B10, well, congratulations. If she's the only Dark Mon here, she's going to die. So don't use your Dark Mona there, which for some players might be an issue, and for other players, it's like, dude, I have Fire Draka. We're good to go. Spoiler alert, Fire Draka, super duper useful like everywhere in the game. Just obviously not Titans or the Dimension Defense, but outside of that, I mean, you can't go wrong here. But in general, the whole composition for B11 is the exact same as B10. You just change the element over, but what I would say focus on is having two wave clearers and then two sappers. Now you saw that I had double Draka and double Artemis. I'm not saying that you have to have those. You don't have to have those. You can have two sappers. On the Casual account, for example, even though I don't have a Water Sea Star on this account, I run Golem's B11 currently 100% stable with a Water Sea Star. I have a Fire Purse, and then I have a Fire Draka, and then a Light Draka. I mean, everyone's Evo 3, but there's literally no problems. It's two sappers and two wave clears. So I'm going to go over here through my list because you guys have already seen kind of one example of what you could be using to kind of help you clear out B11. Hopefully very, very stable like, and I'll just pick what I see fit, and hopefully you kind of can get an idea of what team compositions could work for you. So in this instance, like, you can use a Dark Yuki because Dark Yuki does have sap on her 5-star skill. We're searching for another wave clearer. If you happen to have Dark Tina, that's not a good idea because she is going to get hit like a butt cheek on a stick because once again she's a dark type. But I haven't tried out a full dark composition, so if you guys have tried out a full dark composition for B11, then feel free to leave that in the comments below. But Dark Yuki is also a dark mon, so that could be problematic. So actually running a dark composition could be a good method to go about this, or depending on what your other Astromon in this slot is, Dark Yuki should be fine because she's the tank type, and as long as she can get through that first wave, then the subsequent waves shouldn't be that much of an issue here. So I'm going to go over here and look for another Astromon that can serve as a wave clearer. There's Fire Draka. If you have Fire Draka, feel free to use your Fire Drakas as a wave clearer, but if not, I'm trying to search for something else that would be a little bit more not obvious, but a little bit more accessible to people over here. And then for the another sapper, like I said before, I don't have Water Sea Star, but I'll just use Jiangxi as an example here. it'd be Dark Yuki and Water Sea Star in that slot, and then we just need 2 wave clearers, which if you have a Fire Siegfried, you can always drop him up in there. I think I have one somewhere, but he may be in the Mon box. So Yuki, Water Sea Star, Fire Siegfried, and then we just need another wave clearer. Let's say you have Wood Incubus as a wave clearer. Is he a good wave clearer? He's dirt nasty slow, but he still clears out waves. Congratulations, we have a makeshift B11 team. That's literally it. That's all that I'm doing here. You could also slide in a Wood Banshee if you need like Wood Banshee and a Fire Jacka, for example. Other mons that could also be super helpful in terms of wave clearing. Let's see here. Definitely not Baby Shark. Definitely not Dark Hohenheim. None of the dark mons, unless obviously you're running like a full dark composition. You could also potentially, I'm not sure how well that this would work out, but you could in theory throw in like Cupid as kind of like a Zeal mon and just have 1 Fire Jacka and have your Light Cupid as kind of like your SP battery for the whole entire squad instead, and just run in there with a Fire Jacka and then also another Sapper here. In terms of the other Sappers, I don't really have too many built up besides Wet Artemis, but mons like Fire Purse, there is Dark Vamp, there's also Light Radis, there's Fire Loki, Dark Verde, Dark Flora, mons like that. You can bring in Water Miho, but I will say, spoiler alert, Water Sea Star is far superior. And basically for the wave clearers here, you can use obviously Fire Jacka if you can get a hold of Fire Jacka, but especially if you're a newer player and you're trying to hit B11 as fast as possible. Other wave clearers exist, especially if you're running like a full dark composition, but there's Light Indra, there's obviously Fire Jacka once again, there's Fire Siegfried, Light Artemis, you could even slide in like Wood Banshee. There's also like the light versions of Tina and Sarah, though I'm not saying that they're optimal. There's even Fire and Water Merlin, though once again not optimal. There's Light Jack. There's plenty of mons that you could use here. Technically you could bring in your Wet Mona too if you needed a wave clearer, but just having 1 Fire Jacka would be very, very solid for your composition, as long as you can bring in another, maybe not super duper efficient wave clearer, but just someone else in general. And then the 2 Sappers, like literally, like I said before. My Casio account runs it just fine with a Water Sea Star. Is my Water Sea Star super evoed? Absolutely not. Why would I waste my super stones on that? But if you were going to use her in B15, that might be a different story in terms of the evolution to kind of help her survive a little bit more. But yeah, that's essentially it. Just 2 Sappers, 2 wave clearers, and yeah, that's it. I don't feel like there's any more information to kind of go on and like drag on about this, but feel free to leave in the comments below what your B11 composition is, not B10, and hopefully it works out for you. If you have 2 Fire Jackas, you already have your wave clearers, and you just have to, you know, slide in 2 Sappers. Doesn't matter what Sappers they are, as long as they aren't trash, like Wood Seedler. And I do have tier lists up of Sappers and wave clearers if you need help with both of those guys. So feel free to search on the channel and check those out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Happy gem hunting, and I'll see you in the next one.